Now that I'm recording,
Uh-huh.
hopefully everything's good. I will say, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Magical Bro Transformation Podcast. Regular episode number 73. Today, me, your host, Nuny, is joined by my usual Magical Bro hosts. Gonna be doing a thing on Twitch, probably moving to YouTube more than likely. But I still wanted to put up a test stream. And if you're watching the stream, to my left is going to be my boy Mike. And
Hello.
to my right is going to be the man of the hour, Mr. Businessman himself, who I don't think he's seen his icon yet. And
No, I don't think so.
Yeah,
Indeed.
hopefully it'll be great, Juan. You'll love it.
It's gonna be great.
Yeah, you can just tune into the stream and you can look at it and see yourself in all your beauty.
Yeah, he put a lot of effort into this, so please don't bully him.
I put effort into it. A lot is a big word. A lot is a lot of praise.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but we'll see what Juan thinks. But if you're new to the podcast, we talk about everything. We're gonna spoil everything. So if you haven't watched the Talking No video, I'd recommend. I mean, it's not for everybody. I'll say that for sure.
I mean, it's definitely not your typical like Otaku no video. It doesn't really seem like something most people, even anime fans, would go out of their way to watch. Honestly.
Yeah, even though it's jam packed full of all your favorite. I mean, maybe like I'm curious as to talk to an older anime fan to see how this was back in the day, because it's fucking jam packed with all these older anime references and even tokusatsu stuff.
Yeah, they were pretty big on like where they got all their influences and stuff.
Yeah, and so had either of you ever heard of Otaku no video before?
I had briefly heard of it discussed by some people that I used to talk to a lot. Actually, all the way back in high school, I remember people discussing it. They
In high
were
school?
friends of my uncle who was like
Okay.
super into anime. So, like, I heard through them because they were like relatives or like acquaintances of my uncle at the time and stuff. So it was just like one of those things that I remember them discussing.
Yeah.
Like long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
I just never really got around to watching it or anything.
And when I heard about it back in the day, I wanted to watch it, but I also had no idea what it was about. I just know, like, it had something to do with, otaku culture and things like that, but
yeah,
never went out of my way to, like, read a synopsis or anything, just because I like to go into things blind.
Mm.
And after I watched it, man, this was nothing like what I expected it to be.
Yeah, this is like I said, it's not your typical show. Like it's a I guess it falls under the mockumentary category.
Yeah.
It's shot in a way that it comes off as like a documentary about like otaku culture and also just like this this little story about this guy trying to take over the otaku world and stuff, or the world in
he's
general.
Gonna become the Ota King.
Yes, the Ota King. He like his whole thing is like that he wants to make otaku culture and like anime and stuff mainstream, which is so funny. Like now
in the world that we live in now,
in the world that we're currently living in and stuff. But like to go on with that, it's a neat little time capsule, and I really like it because like it's got different documentary style shootings in which so like it's basically two different things, and so it's like it's the story of this guy going on his climb to become the Ota King and his journey of becoming being converted from a sporty guy to a fucking filthy anime watching otaku.
Yeah.
And then also it's these people being interviewed like one by one, and it's just like these older like folks and stuff, and it's asking them like just like questions, kind of like poking at them and stuff, and it's how like a lot of them no longer associate with like becoming an anime fan or
they
like
are
having
ashamed.
liked anime. they're ashamed of like of how they used to act and stuff back in college and things, because everyone in this in the anime section of it are like college students, and like they join the anime club, and that's still a tradition to this day in Japan and everything. Like
Yeah,
people are still big on that. And I mean, we even have that here in the US, going as early as like in high school, but colleges definitely still have the like the anime clubs and stuff, but
Yeah.
nowhere near to the degree of passion that like in Japan
in
they have.
Japan. I mean, I feel like
Yeah.
just like in every other anime you ever watch, clubs in Japan seem to be a much bigger thing than they are
Yeah,
here in
they go hard
America.
on the clubs, but I think it's because like as a society they like encourage them to join like extracurricular activities. It's
Yeah,
just that like they wind up joining the anime club and they go a little bit too crazy with them. But like it's a neat contradiction, because it's like, so the whole thing about anime is that like always and forever, even to this day, people will always preach about how like anime is all about inclusion, and how like everyone's a big family and we all get along, and all this other stuff. But then you go to the then you look to the side of the people being interviewed, and all of them are ashamed and they don't want to associate with these people, and they don't like
I'm not an
they're
otaku,
like, I'm not an
not
otaku,
anymore.
despite being given proof, or I never cosplayed, or I don't want to be associated with those disgusting weeaboos or anything like that. And it's always the same shit. It's this big like contradiction in the anime community, and it's always been that way. Even in Japan it's had this issue, and it's fun seeing that like that divide, more or less.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's a lot different now with
Oh well, definitely, because anime is
it
pop
just gets
culture
fucking
now,
pop
and
now.
yeah, anime is pop culture, so everyone's like, oh yeah, I love anime, even though they've seen like one,
I
or they're
mean,
like, I've always loved anime, and they've only seen like one or two shows, and then they just leave it at that, and they never move forward from there, which is fine. But I mean, do you need to feel included that badly that you're like,
yes,
yeah, I'm
yes,
still into it?
these poor teenagers, Mike. You don't understand. Being left out is the worst.
It's not even just teenagers. It's like early 20 somethings
Yeah,
nowadays too. The fucking the people with walls of pop figures and shit. They're just like, oh yes, I love the animes.
I
Yeah.
do. And there was a
I just
scene early on that kind of just encapsulates a group that the main character Kubo joins, where he's hanging out with his friends. This is before he fell into the rabbit hole that is anime culture,
Mhm.
and he has to go home because he has a tennis match early and all whatever, and he gets into the elevator, and the elevator stops one floor under him, and then all the group that would become his friends and later on business partners, and then galactic space pirates later on. They get on the elevator and they're talking about a convention that they went to, and they're talking about people that cosplayed that they don't even watch this stuff, they're just doing it. They've only ever watched like one show, and they're calling themselves basically.
Oh yeah, and these people are shitting on them. They're just like, oh man, they didn't know anything about any of that stuff, and they're like, yeah, and they're just ragging on, much like just now. And it's just what it is. Like
it
is
what it is.
It is what it is. Like it's just how you are. I can't help it, and that's just how it goes.
Yeah,
we have the snobby people. I mean, you've seen them in I try to like meter myself, but there's always those like really bad bunch. Like there was an incident at a con we had a while back where this guy came in to there was people watching Kamen Rider in a room, and this guy came into the room as people were watching it, and he brought, I'm assuming, his girlfriend. I'm not entirely sure. He was a bit loud and a little obnoxious, but like he didn't really know anything. He just wanted to like, I guess, kind of figure out what's going on or something.
yeah.
I guess he was like one of those people that were trying to get into stuff, and it's like they're the normies, if you will. Like he's just trying to understand these things.
He wants to know what's going on.
He wants to know, and he doesn't really know how to like interact with these people because they're just sitting there quietly watching it or whatever. And so he's trying to be a little. He ends up being a little loud and saying some stupid question or asking some stupid questions, and they end up one of the guys ends up spurging out on him, and basically asks him to leave, and it's just like it's an embarrassing situation overall. And it's like I can understand both points of view.
Yeah,
I can understand both points of view. Like you feel like this guy's basically making fun of you, and I also understand that this guy also just wanted to what it was all about and maybe get into it or something. And then now, because of this experience, he's
He's
never
like,
going
fuck
to like
that
look
shit.
back to it. Like he's never gonna deal with that again. And
Yeah.
it's just, I mean, that's just how it is. That's how it's always been. It's like people are unable to like fix that situation, and I don't have a remedy for that. It's just
No.
that it
It's
is
the
what it
way of the
is.
world.
It's the way of the things go, and it's just so funny seeing that like it was like that then, and it's like it now. Even though it's mainstream, which was the supposed goal of all anime fans for decades, it's still
Yeah.
the same way with people gatekeeping. And it's just we can't, us as a community at large
As a
cannot help
people.
ourselves. As a people, we cannot help ourselves.
Yeah, we're just attracted to drama.
Yeah,
And
it's a necessity to I guess feel elite over other people. And
I'm better
I
than you.
think it's like, I mean, that's how a lot of people are in general, but I also feel like it stems from just like years of anime being a stigma for so many of like the older fans and everything.
Yeah.
So like I understand when some of them get like pissed about this sorts of thing, because it's like, they're I mean, growing up, at least for me, I didn't watch a lot of anime as a kid,
Mhm.
or too much of it as a kid, other than like the usual stuff that played on like Toonami and things. So I didn't really deal with it, but I knew plenty of people who were super into it, or even ones that were like in high school when my uncle was around, and those people definitely got bullied for that sort of shit.
Mm.
And even as I was getting older and I started getting into anime for a while, like there was still that stigma around it where everyone thought you were just a fucking weirdo for like just having ever watched any of it seriously.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
And even to this
So
day, there is still a little bit of that, even though it's
a
way
lot
more
more
popular
popular.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, there's still a bit of it. Not nearly as much, but there's definitely, it's still there.
Yeah, people won't, when you're sitting on your ass waiting to get into to watch the movie, people won't go out of their, a drunk guy won't go out of his way to look at you and snarkily say, "What are you, some kind of fucking weirdo?" He'll just give you a bad look instead.
He'll still stay quiet, but he'll think bad of you. So
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta put up with that. He can't say anything anymore because people will dogpile the shit out of him.
Yeah.
But he will look at you funny.
Yeah, all the Dragon Ball Z fans, they're gonna get all buffed up and they're gonna be like, "Hey, I want to fight just like Goku," and you don't know who's gonna be there. I mean, he could be a UFC fighter who has a tattoo of his favorite Avatar character on him, or he could be
Yeah.
that all those football players doing those YouTube videos, ninja running and stuff.
Yeah, like it's I guess because that is one good thing about anime becoming mainstream, where it's like now people are more, the people who usually kept quiet about it for the most part are now very vocal.
Yeah,
And so
very
it's always
very
fun,
vocal.
sometimes overly vocal, but
Yeah.
it's still a fun thing to see. Like when you see some guy you like or something from some show, or from just like sports or news or anything really, and then suddenly they're talking about their favorite anime or their fucking waifu, and you're like, this is a strange world we live in now.
they come out swinging their dakimakuras at you.
Yep.
And another thing that I liked that they did, well, one with the show and two with the character profiles, is that they didn't just focus on. I mean, I'm sure it was a lot different back in the day, because in the early '90s, late '80s, especially from what I've heard here in America, the sci-fi community, there wasn't a lot of like ultra niche back then. It was all sci-fi stuff and anime and mecha tokusatsu stuff. It was all one niche basically. Like you would go to a convention back then and there'd be stuff about Star Wars and anime stuff in there, and then you'd get your Godzilla stuff there also, plus whatever novel you were reading at that time. Whereas now they're dedicated conventions, and if you ever go to like a sci-fi convention, you might find some anime there, but it's probably going to be the older stuff that used to be stuff in space. And if you ever go to an anime convention now, if I don't know, if you find some Star Wars thing, I don't know, that's kind of weird because it's just become such a niche thing. But they were doing interviews of
Yeah, and
just
they
all
were
these,
showing the overlap
yeah,
between like different communities and
of
stuff,
all the otakus, from the
like the gun
military
otakus.
people to, you know, the guy that likes tokusatsu and special effects stuff, anime people, lolicons,
Yeah,
and well, basically they ran the whole gambit, and then went out of their way to, from what I understand, mostly interview Gainax employees,
yeah.
and
All the people were, yeah, like they were just taking the shit out, like taking the
yeah,
piss. Like all the people they were interviewed, they purposely made it like seem depressing or whatever. But every one of those people was actually a Gainax employee that they were just fucking with.
yeah, and it's so funny how most of the people there, I when they were interviewing them, or like when they showed up in the show, I was like, that's kind of like, Mondo, or that's kind of like Sergio, that's kind of like me. Hey, that's a little bit of Juan, and then that's when I realized, oh no, this this is us. We are them. we're this group.
We're recursing.
Yeah, it's a very, yeah, because like the surveys were going for basically was that there's all these like niche communities, but a lot of the time, it's a very low percentage of a chance that you'll find someone that has overlap. So basically, it's like they were like, oh, we're looking at the military otakus and stuff, and it was like only like a 15%, I believe, chance of them actually liking anime, because the vast majority of them don't like anime whatsoever.
Yeah.
So and like it was the same for like several other niches and stuff. Like it's such a low percentage of people that are actually into it. And then with cosplaying, it was only, I believe, a 1% or 10%. I believe it was only a 10% crossover of people that cosplay, or people that watch anime and also happen to cosplay.
Yeah.
But the
Well,
cosplay community is also very fervent about it.
yeah, because when they cosplay, they cosplay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when they cosplay, they're gonna go all out, and it's also like I think it was like an 80% chance that whoever cosplays at least once will continue to do it.
Yeah. Is this true, Juan? Is this true?
Hey, I only
Uh,
did it twice.
oh,
It's
what?
just like I mean, it's just one of those things. But yeah, like it was neat seeing those, because it's like some of the stuff was actual factual stuff, and it like the demographics and stuff. So because like they were
Hmm.
trying to show that like this group of people that wound up at Gainax and stuff, they were a very like diverse group and stuff, and it's like they all liked anime, but it was such a low chance of all of them ever actually having crossed paths, basically.
Yeah.
Like they just ended up finding, common ground amongst each other and liking it and stuff, but like that's not really the common thing. It just
It
happens
just
that way.
happened that way. Yeah. And along with the character profiles and stuff, the story that they were telling throughout the show, I
Hmm.
didn't think would get as grandiose as it did.
Yeah, it
Uh,
certainly did in the second half.
yeah, I wasn't expecting that at all. When they first started telling the story of the main character getting into, diving in head first into otaku culture, and
Hmm.
getting, just being told, hey, watch this, do that, learn about this.
I honestly thought it was gonna be a super grounded thing of how they ended up founding Gainax. I didn't think it was gonna be a crash course in like otaku culture, and then going off the rails.
Yeah. And man, did it go off the rails. It went in a good way, though, in my opinion. Uh, but yeah, I also didn't think that this would also be kind of a short summary of how Gainax was funded or founded, but
Yeah, it
also,
has like the elements in it. It's just it's a very odd
yeah,
retelling.
it's a different kind of, it's things were obviously changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they were doing the selling those garage kits for,
I
their
honestly was
models.
super surprised when they brought up garage kits. I didn't think they were gonna actually touch on that, because that's such, even to this day, it's such a niche thing, and it was just funny seeing them bring that up. Like, oh yes, one day garage kits will be very popular. I was like, no, I'm sorry to tell you, from the future, they're not very popular. But man, do I really appreciate like the work that goes into garage kits. Like it's so much dedication it requires to like build them and stuff, and then they're expensive as fuck for them to like to just to buy them, and then you gotta like set them up yourself. But man, I have seen some really nice garage kits done. like over the years.
Yeah. And I also didn't know that Gainax actually went, when it was making its first animation or a little bit after the first movie that they did, they were actually selling garage, doing the things that they were doing.
I was
here.
wondering if that was serious or not, and then I looked into it, and it was like, yeah, they were doing garage.
They actually
kits
did
for a
that.
while.
They were doing garage kits and like I don't know if they were visual novels at the time. I think on the Wikipedia it just said computer games or something.
Mm-hmm.
Lewd computer games or whatever.
I mean, they did
games.
touch on that multiple times, like with the point and click thing.
Yeah, and
the I think that's an SNES game that that dude was playing.
That the guy was playing, maybe.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was an SNES game.
That you had on your computer when you downloaded those
when I downloaded the 1,000 ROMs, and I was like, what the fuck is this thing? And then it loaded up and it just shows you a girl in lingerie, and I was like, oh, this is probably one of those like half-hearted strip teases. And I was like, no, she gets completely naked. Okay.
Oh, I see.
I see. I was proven wrong. You proved me wrong.
Yeah. And but yeah, like I said, I didn't think it would go where it did, especially into the future past when this show was even made.
Mm-hmm.
Like the show was made in 1991, and I expected
they went all the way to 2036.
They went all the way to 2036 into the future, into our flooded Japanese Earth.
Post-apocalyptic future, yes.
Yeah. And I like that in between the profile pieces and the little story, they had like actual events that happened at the time of the
like
the
it
year
would do
that
the
story would
typewriting
take
thing
place,
where it would like show off stuff that happened.
Yeah, like actual events and maybe it would go from, hey, this movie came out this year to this ship sunk and 30 people died.
And and then other times it'd be like this was a political scandal, people went to jail.
Yeah, it like I like that it had that there, because when they went past 1991, they just started making up shit. And I was like,
they're just saying whatever the fuck they wanted to.
Yeah, and
it was nice. I liked that.
Yeah,
they remained dedicated to the bit.
Yeah. Oh, and I mean, it's also kind of nuts that the fucking how the relationship just went full circle. How he was apparently dating that girl. It didn't, like, to me it didn't seem like they were dating. I just assumed that they were friends.
He did say they were dating, because that guy, Tanaka asked him at some point. Like,
yeah, he asked him at some point.
He asked him, "Are you still with that girl?" And he's like, not really lately." So it's like they were together, just not. I guess not so much taking a break as like things were slowing down. Yeah. But like he had already been losing interest in her, so I honestly thought he was gonna get with the cute cosplaying girl, because
that's what I assumed.
Pretty
also.
Fucking thirsty for him throughout the series.
Yeah.
And he was just like, "Nah, I'm good." And I was like, "Damn, dude, why you gotta be a normal person? Why you gotta be like every other person who has some girl throwing herself at him?" And he's just like, "Nah, I'm gonna go for that other girl." And then even then, at the end, when they have to rebuild after he gets fucked over by his ex,
when
he with that other girl, the new one, the mangaka girl, I was like, when she came through the doors, at first I was like, is it fucking the cosplay girl again? And they're like, nah, it's a new. It was the other girl. I was like, why? I was like, the cosplay girl was fine. It was great. And you just continue to.
You had her in the palm of your hands, and
literally, and she kept wanting to do a couple cosplay thing with him, and then he was like, "Nah." I was like, "Son of a bitch, son of a bitch."
Another thing that I liked about the show is that it didn't focus on high school life. I mean,
no, it was college right away, but I know what you mean. Them being in school was a very small portion of the.
Yeah, and even when it was school, it was college, and you hardly.
They were barely there.
Yeah, they were barely there, and also I don't think like you hardly ever see shows, at least that I've seen, based on anybody over 18 in college. In anime, it's usually high school stuff or people already working in the whatever job that they have, doing whatever part-time thing.
Yeah, it's always like it's never the actual college life. Like I think the last time I saw that was Tokyo Ghoul, and Kaneki was only in college for like a few days before everything, before shit hit the fan. It's just such an undone, like an underdone like thing. Where
Yeah.
it's like they're adults, but they're not quite like in the working sector yet.
Yeah. And like I never really thought about college life in Japan. Like I never went out of my way to think, oh, do they have school festivals in college also? But it kind of makes sense if you want to get money for the club that you're in.
Yeah, you gotta have your.
You gotta get some bank in there, and
Yeah.
it just brought to light little things that I never really thought about because I had no reason to think about them. But whenever they did focus on like the little bit of school life, I was like, oh, that's cool. I guess that's how it is over there, huh? Or
it's an interesting look at things.
Yeah. And when they showed the little bits of Daikon, that Daikon animation, I was like, man, this is pretty on the nose. They referenced real life stuff in general, like actual magazines, actual shows, and that weren't even under Gainax. They were just straight out saying them, and I'm pretty sure like back then it didn't really matter. They didn't care about doing the thing that they do now, where they like change a letter in the name or like censor out whatever show with like a little beep or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'd never actually gone out of my way to watch the Daikon 3 and Daikon 4 intro animations. I just knew that they existed and they were always referenced in Gainax shows, like in the background. The bunny suit girl would always come out. And I guess today was the first time I actually went out of my way to actually watch both animations. Just because I was like, well, let's see, what was this? What is this? And I also didn't know that it was literally an intro for an anime convention or, a sci-fi convention.
Mm-hmm.
Until I watched it. And boy,
and now
is that some grandiose fucking anime intro for a convention.
Just goes to show the passion that they have.
Yeah. And I mean, they went out of the way to tell you, hey, we made this all on a camera by ourselves. The actual thing was just made by like 12 people. Apparently it wasn't even done until the day of the event, and that's when they finally put everything together and just like slapped it on there.
Jesus.
And if you watch the show, or if you watch the animations, you might ask yourself, so did they get in trouble for selling these things with all this copyrighted stuff? And the answer is yes, but they paid for it. They paid for their sins with the money they made by selling the videos, the cassettes. And I thought that was pretty cool. Just finding that out.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, okay.
And after, I didn't expect them to go to space at the end. Like I could accept them. I could accept them getting old and having
To
this.
be honest, I thought that they died.
I'm pretty sure they died
probably.
because like when they entered the elevator, they were still underwater, and as they opened the doors for the scene as they were being talked to through the cockpit, they were still underwater. And so when they also said it's okay to take your helmets off, I was like, they're dead. and like even from like I know most people would look at it and be like it's just a fucking wacky ending, don't look too far into it, but I'm pretty sure they died. I'm pretty sure that was what the message is supposed to be, because it's just very obvious. Like it even gives like a hazy filter to everybody, and on top of that, all their friends are young again. I mean, come on, they're fucking dead.
Yeah, and when they're in their suit, they were old, but
they were old, and I knew it was gonna happen. As soon as they took their helmet off, they became young again.
I get it, Mike. You're on this world famous podcast, and you're a harsh and very very detailed critic and look deep into everything. And I'm sure they're dead, but also I just thought it was cool. I didn't really think about it.
I've seen the Titanic. That's at the end.
Have you? I
Yeah.
haven't. What happened at the end, Juan?
The old lady throws the diamond in the water.
Oh, so you are also a harsh critic. I see. Your head's grown big from being on this podcast for so long.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
also wear black turtlenecks and criticize movies.
Nice. I wish I could wear a turtleneck. I have no neck. But yeah, for some reason I've been on a kick of watching just a bunch of older stuff, and I'm kind of always on that kick. But I've actually gone out of my way to get a subscription to Retro Crush just because they have so much old shit on there that I actually want to see. And yeah, just kind of wanted to watch this just for funsies. But
It was a fun watch.
yeah, I mean, it was 2 45-minute episodes. Nothing bad. Retro Crush actually has it like as a movie basically, except they didn't take out the credits.
The credits for the first one.
Yeah, so you just kind of sit there after the first shows. Yeah, you know, the credits roll, and then the second show starts playing as like one long thing. But yeah, I guess we're gonna get a bit more modern, maybe, in the next episode. We'll see how it goes. We're gonna watch Kill la Kill.
Yeah, we're gonna. When was that? 2014.
I'll look it up for you, Mike. You tell me your feelings about Kill la Kill in the meantime.
It wasn't. It can't be 2014 because I would have been out of college.
It was 2013. It was 2013 to 2014.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. Shouldn't I save my thoughts for the next episode?
Yeah. Well, I looked up the date, so you don't
Okay,
have to
well,
worry
there you
about
go.
a thing. Yeah.
We will discuss the show, and I don't know. I'll be rewatching it.
And
Yeah.
Frankie wants to join.
Yeah,
Frankie will
wants
be
to watch
watching
it.
Kill la Kill with us so that he can give his opinions.
Yeah.
Since
we
he
usually
had
have him on.
He had choice words for me last time we spoke about Kill la Kill.
Did he?
He had choice words. Yes.
I hope to hear these choice words because I think I was in another room.
I'll eventually, I'll probably have softened my opinion.
Yeah, probably
over the years.
And
after a rewatch, but I'm still going to say things to anger him.
Yeah, you gotta give the people some quality content, Mike. Otherwise, what are you doing?
Yeah, if we have two Spurgs in the in the call, we have to have some freak out happening.
Yeah, much like that guy that was just curious about whatever was going on, and the guy that spurged out. We need somebody to spurge out.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. You guys have any last words about Otaku no Video?
No, it was an interesting watch. It was funny how it kind of like teetered between reality and fiction in a lot of senses, and how even things back then in the early 90s is still holding true to this day, which is fucking otaku elitism.
Yeah.
That is still a staple of our community, regardless of what people want to say or how they try to word it. It's just how we are. I wouldn't label it as toxic, but I also wouldn't label us as a fun-loving, all-inclusive group like people like to pretend we are.
Yeah.
We love to hold our communities.
Yeah.
And
I'm not letting you into my friend group.
Nuny's monkey sphere.
Yeah. And it's a nice little time capsule if you're curious about how things were in like the mid 80s to like early 1990s, or literally from I guess 1981 to 1991, and what was popular around then. And if you're looking for a show with a story, I guess don't really like it. If you're looking for something full of action and extreme drama, this isn't the show for you. If you're just if you like old shit and you're really curious about it, I'd say
this is a nostalgia trip in a lot of ways for people.
Yeah, a lot of people are just like reminiscing.
Yeah, so that's really what this is for. This is for the just people interested in things like that, and also like the super OG like otakus.
Yeah, I actually wanted to like talk about it. I was thinking about having like Greg from Wushicon on maybe, but also it was probably going to be like a super last minute thing and hard to actually arrange.
Yeah,
And,
considering,
yeah.
I'm sure they're still busy despite the current situation.
Yeah, I might go out of my way to interview another one of the people that's like in charge of it, the girl that's usually there, Brandy, like the short one with like the short red hair. Yeah, but we'll see if that happens, because I'm genuinely curious about how, like, what are they doing, what's going on.
Yeah, that too. I'd like to hear about that.
Yeah, but
alrighty,
that's that. This is this. Guess we'll see you guys in I don't know. When do you guys want to record Kill la Kill?
I don't. I mean, if you want to go for the 2-week schedule, then yeah.
And we can do it in 3 weeks. I could just put this episode out next week.
It's up to you. I mean, we're gonna cut this part, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
But
we'll leave
yeah, I'm fine for whenever you want to actually do it.
All right. Then we'll see you guys whenever. Say bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.